Everyone, it's Ramanilov here back again with another review, and this time I'm going to be reviewing Matrix Resurrections, which is the fourth film in the Matrix franchise, and this time it is set 20 years after the events of, almost technically in our world, it's like 18 years, but almost 20 years after the events of Matrix Resurrections. And in this one, to find out if his reality is physical or mental construct, Mr. Anderson, aka Neo, will have to choose to follow the White Rabbit once more. If you learn anything, it's that the choice, while an illusion, is still a way out or into the Matrix. Neo already knows what he has to do, but what he doesn't know yet is that the Matrix is stronger and more secure and far more dangerous than before. If you guys do or don't know, I am a huge fan of the first Matrix films. I love first Matrix film. I love and adore that film. It's one of my all-time favorite films ever, and it's a film that I could watch over and over again and not get tired. I love that film. I love that film. And even though I'm not a fan of the sequels, I thought they were pretty fun. And honestly, a few years ago, I said to myself that Matrix doesn't really need a fourth film, even though I would love to see another Matrix film. I just feel as though you don't really need one. And we got the trailers. After this, after a while, we had the release date changes, and then we get the trailers. And honestly, I had high hopes for this film because it really looked incredible, and I was really hoping that it would take me back to what I loved the most about Matrix films. And it was a wholly new thing. It was basically resurrecting everything from the dead, resurrecting Neo, resurrecting Trinity, and I was pumped. It looked fantastic. And then I watched the movie, and honestly, I gotta say this. Honestly, I think a fourth film was definitely not necessary. I think after watching this film, this movie is extremely, extremely disappointing. I was having so much high hopes for this film, and honestly, it just didn't continue. Matrix Resurrection is one of the most disappointing films yet, and honestly, it was a right decision to not. It was honestly a better decision to not make a fourth film. It was honest because honestly, I was having high hopes for this film, but in the end, I was very worried about how this movie would turn out to be, and this movie, it just honestly, it could have been better. So let's talk. First of all, I want to talk about the negatives first, and the positives I'll say last because I really want to get the negatives off my chest. So let's get right into it. So first off, what happened to the eeriness of this film? Because I didn't even get to see. There was no eeriness in this film. There was no intensity. There was nothing. Because in the first Matrix film, it was so intense. It was very eerie, and it kept you on your toes. Like everything in this movie is just, it's not eerie. It's freaking, it's going by way too fast. It's not, there's no intensity. Everything is just going by. It's like we've been already in this moment, and I was hoping for this film to, even though it was going to explore again how, he gets back, how he discovers that his world is fake. I think it should have been executed better in terms of how they were to make him come back into the real world, because man, it really was, in my opinion, poorly executed and way too fast paced. Because if you watch the first Matrix film, everything about him discovering what's gonna happen in his life, that his life is not gonna be normal again when he takes the red pill, and he discovers that his world isn't what it is. It was, the first film really had that eeriness. It had that intensity that you loved. And I love that part about the first Matrix film. It was intense. It kept you on your toes. It really felt like it was everything that, the Matrix, the first Matrix was. But this one, it's too fast paced, and it just doesn't keep you on your toes. And I think it should have been executed in a way that it gave you that sense that of the first Matrix film. Even though I don't think it would be as good, I just think it would have been much better, and it would have kept. I think it would have been cooler in my opinion. So, yeah, that's a part of the movie I'd say I was really just not fond of. Another thing is, man, oh man, this film was, it was boring. It was really, really boring. After, okay, first 30 minutes of the movie is really, I think I was not bored. Honestly, I was not bored of the first 30 to 40 minutes of the movie. But after a while, everything just became extremely boring and I just wanted to get out of there. I felt so bored to the point that I really I don't even know. I was bored. I really wanted to get out. It was just boring and when we finally get to the best parts of the scene, which are pretty cool, it was just like I just still felt the sense that I really wanted to get this movie over with. And that's not what Matrix is supposed to be. You're supposed to be invested in this movie. You're supposed to be invested in the characters. You're supposed to invest in the things they do. Because in the first film, it kept you on your toes. It kept you in the moment. It was intense. It was everything. It was made you interested in the movie. But with this one, it was just boring. It just was boring, and I think it was in a way that in my opinion, the moments, but also the characters in the movie. Some of the okay, some of the characters I really like, but there's some characters I'm not really fond of. Honestly, I think Morpheus should have been implemented better in the movie. Even though I liked Yahya Abdul Mateen II's performance as the Morpheus, I think he should have been implemented in this movie better. I also didn't really like the girl with the blue hair. I think her name is, I forget. I think her first name is like Jessica, but I don't remember her name in the movie. I wasn't a fond of her. I liked the operator. The operator was pretty cool. I liked the operator in the movie, but everyone else was just they were kind of boring. The only interesting characters, in my opinion, were Neo, Trinity, and the operator. Operator I like, and I don't know, the blue hair girl. So I don't know, but honestly, I just think the characters should have been implemented better, and I think the character development also should have been better in the movie. Just yeah, and speaking of the chemistry between Neo and Trinity, without really giving much away, I think it should have also been implemented better in the movie, if you watch the first third Matrix movie, it was something special. Their chemistry was special. If you've seen in the first movie, all the first three movies, their chemistry was very special and a big part of the Matrix films. And honestly, it was really so like really incredible scenes. And this one, I just didn't feel anything. I didn't feel the Neo Trinity thing like I did in the first three films. Their chemistry again. I wanted to, but I just couldn't, and that was a big problem that with this film I had. I think they should have fixed that in my opinion. I don't know, but I love their chemistry in the first three films. I was very disappointed with their chemistry in this film. So yeah. Let's go on to the villains. Now, first of all, the villains in the film I'm not a fan of. And first of all, Jonathan Groff, he's basically like kind of an Agent Smith, but honestly, the actor who played Agent Smith, Hugo Weaving, which he was really fucking awesome as Agent Smith. He just doesn't get the same satisfaction that I have with him playing, as Hugo Weaving playing Agent Smith. Because the best part of the movie was the agents. The agents were so like fucking cool. But in this film, there's in the film, which is, I hope this is not a spoiler, but the agents are not really what they seem to be in this film. And I was very disappointed by that. And I think they should have actually used agents that looked like agents instead of something else, in my opinion. And I was very disappointed with that. Because Jonathan Groff is just, I think he did okay, but I think Hugo Weaving always will be the best agent in the Matrix franchise, and I think he's always been perfect as an agent in and the agents as Agent Smith in the Matrix franchise. So yeah. There's also other villains in the movie, but honestly, I just think that I think Agent Smith was such a was so much better than what we have now, to be honest. And I'm happy that we got Agent Smith in the Matrix franchise instead of this. And honestly, I think it would have been much better to have a new agent that had the cool look like he did back in the 2000s. So yeah. But now let me get back into the positive. So first off, I love the action scenes. I think the action scenes are very well choreographed. I love the different fight scenes. They're really damn cool, and it brings you back to what you love. And I also love the nostalgia of the film. And I love that it brings back also the memories of what from the first three films back into this film, and I love that. I love that they implemented that in this film, and I thought it was a really cool part of the Matrix of this film. I really, really love that. I love that part of the film. And I also Keanu Reeves. I think it was fantastic. Of course, once again, he's fantastic. He's fantastic as Neo, and he just does an awesome job, and he's really damn cool in this film. So yeah, I love those aspects of the movie. I think it was very well implemented. I'm very happy that they were part of this film. And I just love what else do I love that it takes place in a real world city, San Francisco. I think it was really cool. Even though I do like even though I do like Capital City more. I think that was what it was called, Capital City. Yeah. I think Capital City was much better, in my opinion. But San Francisco is pretty cool. I like San Francisco. But yeah, I mean, overall, I just think I'm going to give my final verdict for Matrix Resurrections. I think Matrix Resurrections could have been a better film. I think it could have been better implemented. Uh, I think if they could have fixed on the parts of the story and the characters, and even the eeriness and the intensity of the film and the pacing, I think it would have been way better. And also not make it long, because that's why it was boring. Because the first 30 minutes were good, 30 to 40 minutes were good, but everything else was just completely boring. And I think it would have been much better if it was short but sweet, so it wasn't so exhausting. So I'm gonna give the movie a C minus, aka a 7 out of 10. Yeah, guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video, and next up I'm going to be reviewing The Kingsman. So yeah, see you around, and peace.